You're listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of jaysjournal.com and fansided.com. We are the official ballroom chat for everything Toronto Blue Jays baseball, from game highlights to rumors and all the stuff in between. Here's your host, Craig Borden, with co-hosts Jason Lyons and Liz McGuire. Now let's talk some Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Hello and good evening, everybody, and welcome to Jay Bird Watching. I am your host, Craig Borden. We're going to be talking all things Toronto Blue Jays this evening as we have a very special guest with us. But first, let's go around the table and say hi to the normal gang. Liz, how you doing this evening?
I'm really good. I cleaned my bathroom, and that's it. That's the win of the week. And then I ate some ice cream cake, which my friend made me for no reason. So I have a no reason ice cream cake. I've got a cleaner house than before. And I haven't gone outside. I didn't go outside today. So that's my update. Real good times here in Toronto. Yeah, man, that's not a lot shaken in terms of baseball. That's a lie. I bought myself a really nice 1992 shiny jacket. You know the ones with
did you finally find the one that had the white sleeve and the starter jacket?
No, I didn't want that one. I wanted the classic, classic. They were like a starter jacket, but I couldn't find it in small, and I have found one in small.
There you go.
Yay!
Thank you.
Good deal, Jason Lyons, West Coast. How we doing, bud?
Well, I mean, it's we didn't get snow like you poor people did out there. We got a lot of rain, although yesterday was absolutely spectacular. It was. I actually played golf in shorts. Which is pretty rare for this time of the I know, big shenanigans. But yeah, otherwise good, man. I mean, it's been an interesting come down, and then some of the kicks in the shins again keep coming for the Jays with the manager of the year pick, and so the baseball stuff is fun. It's still going. I love the ridiculousness of Jays Nation now talking about some of the trades and signings and all this stuff. I just it makes me laugh. And I try not to answer because I love you people so much. But yeah, going real well. Excited about the episode today.
Good deal. So let's talk about that wonderful special guest. After his previous little tease right before the World Series Game 4, we have our new friend, Rance Mulliniks, former Blue Jay and broadcaster with us. How we doing, Rance?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
So
everything's great here on the West Coast.
Yep.
So
there you go.
No complaints.
So I wanted to actually start this evening off with a little bit of a talk with you really quick here about that wonderful fun that was John Schneider just missing out on the wonderful fun that could have been a Manager of the Year award. You played for a gentleman for many years that was also not quite getting the recognition on that level, and you ironically have his jersey right behind you on the wall. When you're playing for somebody like that, do those kind of awards really help the locker room or anything like that, or is it just one of those things that Cito and John will go about their business and it'll just be that much more fun to go with?
Well, let me start by saying that I personally am disappointed. I thought John Schneider, I thought he definitely deserved to be the AL Manager of the Year. Did a tremendous job to get to the ball club. I mean, to the 7th game of the World Series. But a little bit of mixed emotion. I personally know Stephen Vogt's dad. He actually lives right here in Visalia. Stephen's from Visalia, where I make my home now. So, Stephen Vogt, I'm happy for him, but very disappointed because I thought John Schneider deserved it more than anybody else. And as far as, what does that do to the locker room? I don't think it has any effect, really. I think the players probably feel much like we all do. We're disappointed because we felt he deserved it. But hey, we're at this point. You're starting to think about 2026. There were times I thought Cito deserved it. He never was awarded the. I mean, when you manage a team to back-to-back World Series championships, what more do you have to do to be the AL Manager of the Year? So, but. Going forward, I don't think it affects the locker room. There's that emotional part of it where you're upset because you know somebody that deserved it. In our opinion, didn't get it, but we move on.
I mean, can we not all agree that maybe even Dan Wilson is more deserving than giving the guy back-to-backs for? I mean, the Guardians have been good.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Yeah,
they
I will
haven't-
make that they made something out of nothing a little bit this season. It seemed like, and Voigt was a big part of that, obviously. But
that's
to your
fine.
point,
Yeah, I mean, it's there's three very deserving guys, and I think Voigt being the least deserving of the three. But I mean, I guess I mean, I think it speaks to the weirdness of like Vladdy not being even nominated for a Gold Glove at one, and Ty France wins one. Like, I mean, there's a bunch of weird things going on. Even the Silver Sluggers and stuff like that. You look at it and you're like, what a weird. Some of these are really weird choices, but. Anyway,
my favorite one on the Gold Glove was that fact that Ernie Clement was let go for the utility one, but he was good enough to be nominated for a full-time Gold Glove at third base. It just seemed a little like he's good enough to be a full-time player, but you won't even give him the utility one. What's going on?
Silly.
So, but yeah. So, any other thoughts on that one before I start having some fun here with questions that we got?
I mean, I think that one of the things that just is incredible to me, when Rance having you here, and I mean the irony of the jersey behind you is, so when you have a manager like Cito, who you hear a lot, Tommy Lasorda and guys who manage for a long time in the bigs, and they obviously have people who are big fans. Dave Roberts has a lot of people who are big fans. I don't know if I've ever heard the players speak as highly on whole as Cito. We've heard a little bit about Cito. Can you just give us a little more insight into the man? Like, he just seems so genuine and so just, I don't know what it is about him. Like, as soon as you see his face, you're like, it's Cito. Like, you're just like more excited about your own day.
Well, a key word there that you just mentioned, he's very genuine and very humble. And from a player's perspective, he looked beyond the Major League Baseball player and what can this individual, be it me or anybody else, do to help us win ball games. He really took a genuine interest in us as people. And that's the way he treated us. And he was always so humble and so down to earth. And that's what I admired about Cito more than anything else. He really took a genuine interest in all of us as people. And I found that to be, during my professional career, reflecting back, I found that to be an exception as opposed to the rule. And I think Cito, his approach was, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to teach the best I can. I'm going to manage the best I can. But I'm never going to lose sight of the fact that there are things in life that are much more important than this game of baseball. And that's what I always admired and appreciated about Cito the most.
That's awesome. So, and you can see that even when he's like throwing out the first pitch and stuff like that during the World Series, he just emanates that wonderful vibe, and I can see why you would all want to just do your best for him and do everything you can to make that guy get a win.
That's a great point. We all wanted Cito to succeed.
Yeah,
and he had a unique way to reach out and connect with all of us on a personal level. And I think he does that with fans. I think he does that anytime anybody's speaking with him or interviewing. I think that you sense that genuineness, how genuine he is. And I think that's one of the reasons, aside from what he accomplished as a hitting coach and as a manager in Toronto, that people have so much admiration and love for him.
Yep. Good deal. So somebody that had some great, wonderful things to say about you when we told him you were going to be on the show, following him in the next couple of weeks here, one of your former teammates, Todd Stottlemyre, gave us one of our famous Pass the Questions. So in the midst of this whole thing, I asked him, what we like to do is have a question that's passed from player to player. So it's something that we can just have some fun with and, loosen you up a little bit, get to our barroom vibe that we got here. So what he asked was, apparently there was a certain game against the Seattle Mariners in which you were asked what to pitch Edgar Martinez. So we would love to hear what the story is behind that comment.
Oh man, the eternal train wreck when he was young. Todd, I love Todd. He was, even as a young player, he was very emotional, oftentimes a little immature. But we were playing in Seattle. There was a couple of runners on. Edgar Martinez comes up to hit, and I'm standing over at third base. And all of a sudden, I hear coming from my left, somebody yelling, "Hey." So I turn, I look, and it's Todd, and he's motioning. He's standing off the back of the mound, and he's giving me the motion, "Hey, come here." So I walk over there, and as I told you earlier, I'm going to lay this out exactly as it went verbally. I walk over there, and I say, "Hey, what's up?" He says, "What do I do?" So I says, "What do you mean, what do you do?" He goes, "How do I pitch this guy?" So I said, "Well, I know traditionally is that this always happened. You, Pat Borders, who was catching that night, and Galen Cisco, the pitching coach, I know you went all over the hitters. You went over the hitters prior to the game and how you're going to pitch them. Why don't you call Pat out here and ask him?" He says, "Rance, if I thought he had the slightest idea of what he's doing, that's exactly what I would do."
Ooh.
So he says, "You got to give me something, right?" So I go through a 3-pitch sequence, which I'll take a moment here to take. I said, "Look, first thing you do, starting with a slider, don't try to make it a great pitch, throw it for a strike." Because I'm thinking in my head, he's looking for a fastball. And then the next pitch, go fastball inside, but don't try to throw it for a strike, get it off the plate. And then when you go back with the third pitch, go back away from him. But when you do, throw a fastball. Because I'm thinking slider, fastball in, go back away. He's going to be thinking slider. Okay, I'm trying to think like a veteran hitter now. So, and then I go back over to third base. So sure enough, he goes slider, strike one, fastball. He has to move his hands. Next pitch, he goes fastball away, not slider, and Edgar fouls it back off to the right side. So again, what do I hear? "Hey." So I look, he's motioning me back. I go back over there. He looks at me and he goes, "Now what?" And so I went through a couple of pitch sequence. He ends up getting Edgar out, gets out of the inning, went on and pitched a good ball game. And as I recall, he won the game. But that's the one and only time I ever experienced that. Now, I'm going to add a caveat to this story. So his next start, I'm playing third base. He gets in trouble. And so I request time. I go to the mound, and he looks at me and he says, "What are you doing here?" So I says, "Well, you're in trouble again. I thought I could help you out." So he says, "You know what, Rance? The only thing you know about pitching is you can't hit it. So why don't you get back over to third base and let me do my job?" The last part of that I made up, but anyway, it's a big deal.
But the people that have seen Todd on this show, have met him in person, watched his videotape, anything. At a minimum, the World Series thing is coming, where he was just too stubborn to come out of the game, and they can picture that comment right to a T. So perfect. Good stuff.
So anyway, if we have a little time later, I can tell you another story. And it's not the one that I shared with you earlier. It just came to me, and it's a pretty good story. But anyway,
Tell that one. Let's go.
Say, we're here for story time
All
tonight.
right,
Let's go.
so as you'll recall, his start against Philadelphia in '93 in Philadelphia, he gets lit up, absolutely lit up.
Mm-hmm.
So the Blue Jays, as we all know, they win the World Series, a dramatic home run by Carter. And when they had the parade and then they all come back to the stadium, they're in Toronto and they're letting players speak. And Todd, of course, Todd being Todd, can't resist the opportunity. So he goes to the deal. And you'll recall that the mayor of Philadelphia, Eddie Rendell, said, I think I could have gotten a hit off Todd Stottlemyre, right? So Todd goes up and grabs the mic and he goes,
"Oh, yeah.
You know, and I just want to say the mayor of Philadelphia can kiss my ass," right? I mean, this is typical Todd. So anyway, many years later, Todd's working for, I think it's Merrill Lynch. I mean, he's got a significant position, all this stuff. So I call His secretary answers the phone. I explained to her who I am, my relationship to Todd, and I don't want you to tell him who's calling. Just put him on the phone. Now, we haven't seen each other for years. So Todd, he goes, hello, this is Todd Stottlemyre. How may I help you? So I said, is this the same Todd Stottlemyre that told the mayor of Philadelphia in front of everybody in Sky Dome at that time, now Rogers Center, and all over Canada, that the mayor of Philadelphia could kiss his ass? And all of a sudden, his tone changed, and in a very humble way, he goes, yeah, you're talking to the guy that did that.
He has obviously no idea it's you yet.
Oh, no. So then he goes, who is this? So my response to him is I said, I can't believe this, how soon they forget, right? That's my response back to him. So then he starts to think, he goes, okay, don't tell me. I have a clue, I think but I can't place it. And so I go, well, do you want me to? No, don't tell me. So anyway, this goes on for a couple of minutes. And finally he goes, all right, I give up. Who is this? I said, it's Rance. And he cussed me for the next 5 minutes. He called me everything. He's like,
oh, man. Touchdown.
Yeah. So anyway, some of the stuff that goes on that we have fun with, but it's all good. Yes.
So good.
All right. So Jason, I know the little kid in you has a question now ready to go on.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've got one of our standards, the one that we like to throw on to all the guys that did play in the league. You know, what was your favorite stadium to play in? And did you have a moment in any of those stadiums that really, like obviously, Yankee, Wrigley, but what was the one that stood out the most, and what was your favorite stadium to play in?
Well, my favorite stadium, there's no question, and I'm going to probably surprise everybody a little bit with this, but it was Exhibition Stadium.
No.
Oh yeah, and let me tell you why. Okay, it's because it wasn't pretty, it wasn't laid out for baseball, but it was our ballpark. It was our home, right? And Rogers Center, great place to play. Don't get me wrong, but Exhibition Stadium holds a special place in my heart. There you go. And it's the first time we get to the playoffs. In '85, I mean, so many special and wonderful moments down there. The cold, nasty weather, the whole deal. That was great. Playing on the road, my favorite ballpark would have probably been Tiger Stadium on the road, because we did have a rivalry with them, and it was great. They packed the ballpark. It was great. All of those things. I mean, there's a number of them, but I think I'd probably surprise people with Exhibition Stadium, because we had so many special moments there when we were all growing together. We were growing as a team, as fans, and that place will always hold a special place in my heart for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I first saw you play.
Go ahead.
That's where I first saw you play. I mean, that's where my first memories are too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's awesome that you would say.
If I could throw out a couple of more, the first hit I got in the big leagues was in old Comiskey Park in Chicago.
Nice.
So obviously, actually, I have a seat back here from behind me out of old Comiskey Park. When they started tearing it down, I bought it, and it's back there. You can't see it on the screen, but I mean, my gosh, if you looked at it, you'd think nobody today would even dare sit in the doggone thing. And then
the whole something special to you.
Yeah, very special. And in Anaheim Stadium, where I hit my first home run on July 4th, 1977. And our starter that day was Nolan Ryan, pitched a complete game. So those are a couple other places where I have some very special memories.
Yeah. Subtle name drop there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, if you played with the guy, you played with the guy, right? Like, I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was wonderful.
He was special. There's no question about that.
So I think he shares the same sentiment about Exhibition Stadium as our buddy Jamie Campbell was on the show telling us all the wonderful stories of the Dave Winfield seagull ball hit. and the part of that story that he went on to go tell was him being not quite a baseball collectible like our friend Liz here, but as a added baseball collector himself, he actually thought about taking the bird because it was dropped off right in front of him. Apparently, it was this way the story went, and it was just wrapped in a towel. And the only reason he didn't take it home with him to like try and find a taxidermist and try and authenticate it was hit by Dave Winfield, was because he didn't want to see what his mom's reaction would be the next morning when she opened the fridge.
Hey, here's a story about Exhibition Stadium. We're playing. I think it was 1984. We're playing the Yankees a doubleheader. We had beat them in the first game. We're beating them in the second game. And it's fairly late into the evening. And, of course, people had no doubt a lot of Labatt's or Molson or whatever it was they were drinking. And a guy decides he's going to climb the foul pole.
No.
And this is probably about the 7th or 8th inning. And so he climbs to the top of the foul pole. And, of course, here you get security. You get the RCMPs there. And they're trying to get him down. And, of course, he's not coming down. And now people are cheering him, right? They're egging this guy on.
Stay up there.
He's loving it, right? So if he's out there hearing this, maybe he can, respond to you at some point. Guy. But then he's leaning out. He's hanging on with one arm, and he's waving to everybody. And then he would start down, and he'd get about halfway down, and the RCMP would start out to get him. And then he would go right back to the top again. And this for a couple innings, and it was
mouse.
It was. I mean, we laughed so doggone hard. It was it, but that was just one of those stories one of those things that happened that, nobody got hurt. It was harmless, but guy had a great time, a lot of laughs.
So to your point, Jason, there is why he loves Exhibition Stadium. He has all these incredible stories that are just.
I'm telling you, like it was such a different stadium, like. Just the whole vibe, like I feel like like the home run seats, I think were $1 or $2. Like you could get on the GO train and go down, and when it was nice, it's very similar to Nat Bailey here, where when it's nice, it's spectacular, and when it wasn't so nice. But here in Vancouver, we don't play baseball that far
sitting
into
like
the
this
season.
thing to watch the game.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like I have a lot of time for the X. I like. Spent a lot of years watching baseball there, and I mean, how is the irony of Troy? Now, Rance, keep in mind this guy Troy is not related to me at all. And then look at the comment
Cousin
before
Troy.
that. Like he said that he met you and got a signed ball when he was 7 years old at the X. I mean, like this is a part of people who lived in Toronto. And everyone could go, and everyone did go. Like they may not have been the biggest crowds all the time, but they were always well attended, and it was just great baseball. It was fun.
Yep.
Well, as you'll remember back then, when we left the ballpark for a number of years, we actually walked out to our cars so fans could wait out there, and you had that personal connection with people. And obviously that doesn't happen anymore. But I always enjoyed that. Actually, it would, at times you kind of, at least I did, I kind of felt bad because I would have to say, hey, look, I've got to go, I've got to get going, and you can't sign everybody's card or whatever it may be, but you did get that connection. And I think that's something that's missing today, not only on behalf of the fans, but I don't think the players really understand sometimes what they've missed with having that connection. It's because maybe you don't feel like it at the time, but at some point down the road in your life, you're going to look back at it. At least I do. And you say, I'm glad that I played when I did. And I was able to have that kind of a personal connection with the fans. So, Liz, you look like you have a question or you're
I do. You know it. Okay. There's two things.
You knew where I was going.
The first thing is just kind of building on this fan player connection. It's so sad. So in Toronto, it feels almost like we're at a theme park. Everything's very shiny, and the players are very, very far away. And there's not a real opportunity to get near them, especially for kids, right? And so they used to have Winterfest where you could go and meet your players. They haven't done that in 4 years. And also the Jays they take batting practice before the Skydome opens. So you can only see the opposing team take batting practice, not your own team, as well as that, like, apparently even in at Dunedin, it's kind of getting harder and harder to kind of have interactions with players. So I'm a little sad because I know in other places there's, like, I don't know where it is, Craig, Jason, but there's a place where, like, players can walk out and kids can get stuff signed by them. It's like a corral where players can just go out there.
Well, there's lots, certainly. Like, I mean, if you ever go watch a game in Fenway, there's like Yawkey Way is closed. And so if you walk down Yawkey, there's where the players all come in the buses, and they have, I don't know, maybe 100 yards to walk over to the kids. I mean, but I think we as a society, unfortunately, have realized that there are people that are trying to get autographs that are not there for the genuine want of an autograph. Okay. They're there to make money. And I think that the players, especially now, have realized that, and they're like, okay, well, I'll sign as much as I can. But when they sign the 18th 58-year-old guy's, card, they're like, okay, well, you're doing this for your own profit. You're not doing it for any other reason than that. But I mean, I've seen some pretty cool ones. Seattle is particularly easy access to players. Their bullpen is actually really easy access as well. And they, my son's going to kill me for not remembering his name, but their bullpen catcher is like having a party down there every night. He's a great dude. He loves the kids. He's always talking. If anybody knows his name, you free ball, like ball for you, like, oh, you want some batter's gloves, like it's the stuff like that that makes it more fun. But yeah, I mean, we don't live in a society anymore, I don't think, where like the Ottawa Senators used to have the same thing where they would drive out of the arena and they would drive through the people and just sign as they went. Everyone was happy. You can't do it anymore, unfortunately.
Nah. That's trash. One question I have for Rance is like, how did you feel when you were sent to Toronto? Like, it was a newer ball club. It's in Canada. What was your reaction to being sent up north?
Well, I was traded to the Blue Jays with about 9 or 10 days left in spring training of 1982, and I had been asked to be traded because I hadn't been given the opportunity to play in Kansas City, and that was a wonderful place. I was fortunate enough to be on a team that went to the World Series there, although we lost to Philly. But the thing I would say is I knew when I was traded to Toronto, Jimmy Williams, I had played for Jimmy for about a year and a half in the minor leagues. So I knew Jimmy, and so I had that connection. And I also knew that it was a young club that was developing, and I was going to get an opportunity to play. They were going to run all of us out there, me, Willie Upshaw, Lloyd Mosby, et al., and give us a chance to develop, and who developed was going to stay around, and who didn't they were going to be eliminated. So I knew I was excited about that opportunity. I didn't know really much about the city. Obviously, I'd been there a couple of times when I was, with other ball clubs as a visitor, but it didn't take long for me to realize that it was a really good place to play, but I was just excited about the opportunity. And so I think that's the best answer I can give you. I saw it as an opportunity, and I knew they were young, and I knew that the organization knew we're not going to win right away. So we're going to be patient and let players develop. And I was going to be a part of that, or at least part of that opportunity. So that's the way I approached it. Yeah.
I have one more question for our guest. Where is your World Series ring? Do you wear it? Can I
do wear it on occasion.
Okay.
But not a lot. Not daily, but I do wear. Anytime I go to Toronto, I wear it. Yes.
Yeah, you better. Like, yeah.
They call that a free drink machine.
Yes.
Free dinner and drinks. Here we go.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to learn to say no.
Yeah.
Or at least find the door.
Yeah.
But could not say enough things about how well earned that obviously was. You were a founding member of what those teams obviously became in 1992 and 1993. And for all the youngsters that are listening and watching in here, not just Brother Lions in the chat, we got almost 200 of you watching in right now. Giving you a modern day comp as far as somebody that is what Rance was to a lot of us, and what you have seen in the field right now. Somebody that had to earn a spot, Ernie Clement. Same kind of thing. You both play third base. You guys have really worked your tail off to get to where you were when you were playing and where he is currently. I see a lot of things going on with his career and how you kind of laid that same kind of pathway for yourself back in the day.
Well, I appreciate that. To be compared to Ernie Clement is a real compliment for me. I was so proud of what he was able to do this year because he is versatile, and
but you were too. You played how many different positions?
Yeah,
and
that's true. But I think what I admire a lot about Ernie Clement is he seems to me to be the kind of individual that when he comes to the ballpark, if you're asking him to play third base, you're asking him to play second base, you're asking him to play fill in at short, whatever it is you're asking him to do, his attitude is, this is what my team is asking me to do today. This is what my manager's asking me to do today. And I am going to prepare as best I can and do the best job that I possibly can in today's ball game to help my team win, no matter what role I'm being asked to fulfill. And that's what I admire most about what he accomplished this year.
Yeah, Rance, I have coached with the same guy, Chris Randall, great guy. Played a little pro ball way down the international scale, but he always says be a ball player first, position player second. And I mean, it couldn't be more true. And I think that we're actually seeing, when again, Craig is right. Like, I feel like the people we've had on who we've mentioned that that we were going to have you on, the talk is very similar about the way Clement goes about his business and the way that you did. I mean, you didn't have to make it showy. You didn't have to do any of these things, and you still got the job done every single time. And we're an unbelievable major leaguer. But I think for me, one of those things, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But I'm now, and all three of you, I'm now starting to see more players like this in the majors than I've ever seen before. Like, the specialty guys took over for a couple of years, especially at the pitching position. Mm-hmm. But now we're getting baseball players back playing baseball. And wasn't it much more fun to watch baseball players play baseball in the World Series than specialists? I mean, sure made for a very, very exciting playoffs.
It does, because you see these types of players, and a player like Ernie Clement today has more value, in my opinion, in the way they manage and play a game today than in my generation, because pitchers starters come out of the game earlier. You have a lot more changes, a lot more switching around, this and that. So if you've got a guy that maybe in the course of a game, like an Ernie Clement, who starts the game at third, may end up at some point in left or at short, and then finish the game at second base because of all the changes that are going on, brings tremendous value. And I know there are other players out there like that you're alluding to that bring that type of quality. And I truly believe that the individual that's capable of doing that, obviously they can do it physically. They have the physical ability to do it. But in able to be successful, you have to take on an attitude of, it's not about me. It's what are they asking me to do today to give my teammates in our ball club the best chance to win. Accept that, prepare for it, and then go out and do the best you can. And that's what I see in Ernie Clement. And I know that's the attitude that I took when I was playing. If they asked me to play third DH, or if I'm not in the game, prepare to pinch hit if that opportunity comes up late in the game. And that's the way I approached it. And, I was fortunate enough to play on some really good teams and several teams that went to postseason. And I hope that Ernie Clement has that same opportunity to go going forward. But one of the reasons I admire him so much is because I think that's the attitude he takes towards each and every day.
Yeah. Good. So I got one question from our regular on our show. And you had mentioned you had the pleasure of meeting him at one point, Bob File. He had a wonderful, interesting stat that he shared with me. You just mentioned your pinch hitting prowess, and obviously that was one of the things that you were incredibly good at in your Major League Baseball career, coming in a pinch and needing to get that runner home or whatever it might be. Not only did you do that really well, but he said you had a career batting average of 287 with runners in scoring position over a career that was as long as yours. That's pretty damn good.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
That's wild.
Well, that's a stat that I wasn't aware of, but it's nice to hear that. And I'm glad that he shared that with you. Yeah.
So on that note, then, what is the secret to being a good pinch hitter, or just coming up clutch when your team needs you to be that person that steps up? Or what was your mantra, anyways?
I would say, first of all, it's the proper mental approach for me. And what I mean by that is, number one, you accept the fact that, okay, this is what my team's asking me to do today if the situation comes up. So prior to the start of the game, I go through my mind, I diagnose, okay, who am I going to fit? It's probably going to be one or two guys. It's probably going to be the 8th inning guy or the 9th inning guy. What do they throw? What's their out pitch? And what's going to be my plan when that situation comes up? Then committing to that plan, trusting it, and then be so all in. And I hope this makes sense. But to be so all in, before I even walk to the plate, I had already made up my mind that I was completely prepared to accept the outcome of my decision. And so therefore, all the fear of failure, all of the anxiety, all of the doubt had dissipated. I didn't even think about that. I just was totally focused on my plan and trying to execute it as best I could.
And let's not forget that, in your day, Rance, I mean, you guys were going on notes that were made by pencil. Like, these guys go downstairs and hit a pitching machine that mimics the guy's arm, the movement, the speed of it, the rotations. So, for a guy like Barger to come in and hit a grand slam, and everyone's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, he was down there hitting that pitch for an hour before that, where you're probably having half a hot dog, leaving a cold dog, and running out there, tucking your wings into the back of your helmet. Like, who am I facing?
Yeah, no. Well, I pretty much knew who I was going to face. I had a very good idea. But lots of times I just went off memory. And if I can expound on that just a little bit, one of the things that I learned, and this was, and I'm not going to delve off into it deeply, but what Cito taught me, and we went through the process, which was very uncomfortable at the time because we were making a change, but it worked out great, is I learned to observe and watch all the time and put things in the memory bank. So, and what I learned by doing that, and this is true of all of us. I learned that people, when they're under duress or in a stressful situation, they're going to do what they feel most confident and comfortable doing. And a pitcher's no different. He's going to do what he has the most trust and confidence in. And that gives me an advantage to walk to the plate and say, okay, I know what he's going to try to get me out with in this big situation, because that's what he trusts and has the most confidence in. And so I would start to get patterns on pitchers, put it in the memory bank, and then I could use it to help me be successful somewhere down the road in the future. So I hope that makes sense.
Perfect sense.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You kept your own database or whatnot in your brain.
Exactly. Look, our eyes don't lie, right? So what we're seeing is reality. That's actually happening. And so what I did was I took that, put it in the memory bank where I could use it to give me maybe a little bit of an advantage somewhere in the future when I had to face pitcher X, Y, or Z. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, that's what I did.
Tons of sense.
Yeah.
Liz, you got a question?
Yeah, I know that was incredible. Just being prepared and sticking to your plan. Also, that's insane. Yeah. I guess that, like, another question I have, Rance, is kind of a lame one. But what was your favorite?
There's no lame question.
What was your favorite Jays uniform that you wore and why? Because you were wearing back when they had the belts in them, I think. Like, you were wearing the original beautiful powder blues.
The pullover ones too, and the button ups. And
there was some. What were they like?
Well, they were all tailor made.
Right on. Yep.
There's that, and I had a 31 waist and 44 in the shoulder, if that means anything. And I still weigh about the same today, but it's kind of dispersed out a little bit different than it used to be. But no, my favorite Jays uniform was the last probably 3 years or so that I played. I liked the button-down shirt, and I did like the belt.
Yeah.
So the last 3 or 4 years I played, that was my favorite Jays uniform. And since you brought that question up, Liz, I got to throw this out there.
Let's go.
I noticed that Greg has the old Dirty Bird on his helmet there.
Yeah, I got the middle one, and then the
middle
weird
one,
ones over
whatever it
here.
is. Just for
I got them all everywhere. I got the real one too.
We
It's
used to
back
do
there.
clinics all over Canada, and they'd give us those with that. And George Bell absolutely refused to wear it.
Yes.
He would not even put it on. So
Yeah.
he insisted on the original Blue Jay,
Yeah.
which, by the way, is my favorite.
Yeah,
The
it's the
original Jays logo.
Me
And
too.
I'm glad that they went back to that a number of years ago.
You
That was
can't
the
go wrong.
original Jays.
It's so
Yeah.
good. I know that like when they had the black, I call them sparkle uniforms, where it was just they were black, they had silver thread, and there was a J on it, an angry looking blue jay. I hate the muscle bird. Also, like dislike the muscle bird with the
bird was
tattoo.
horrible.
Worst.
Yeah.
But like I know that like when they had the black uniforms, they didn't call them Blue Jays anymore. They were just Jays. All over the Rogers Center, it would just say Jays. And when they brought the blue uniform back, it was like we had gotten back. We were back again. It's like there was like the city was like it felt so good that they had gone back to the original looking bird as well as back to the Blues.
Well, they're the Blue Jays, Toronto Blue Jays, right? You're a Blue Jay. You're not a mix between a Blue Jay and the Oakland Raiders. Come on,
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
That is correct.
Baltimore.
So anyway,
Jays.
I can speak for me and a lot of my teammates, at least those that I've had association with since our playing days were long over with. We are so glad that that the organization went back to the original Toronto Blue Jays and the colors that go with it.
Bingo.
For sure.
And Rance, you wore 32 as a J, did you not?
I'm sorry?
You wore number 32 when you were a Blue
No,
Jay?
number 5.
Number 5, right.
Right. Okay, let me get you straightened out here, Jason. I was number 5 in your scorecard, always number 1 in your heart, right?
Exactly.
There it is. And then you got to play right next to the other number 1, which was Tony.
Hey, and a real quick story on that. I got traded over the Blue Jays. I go into the clubhouse, and Jeff Ross was the equipment man, longtime equipment manager, clubhouse manager for the Blue Jays, and a great friend. And he said, "What number do you want?" Well, prior to that, in the major leagues, both with the Angels and with the Royals, I had worn number 18. Well, I knew I wasn't going to get number 18 because that was Jim Clancy's number. So I said, "How about 4?" He goes, "Well, 4 is already given out." But he goes, "Number 5's available." So I said, "Well, I'll take number 5." So that's how it happened. Yeah.
Game on.
Yeah.
Too fun. So
that's how I ended up with number 5.
It was available. It was
available.
It was available.
So I took it.
So seeing I made the joke, and I don't know if it got heard or not, but you actually had the pleasure of playing next to number 1 on the left side of the infield for years. Obviously, God rest his soul, we miss Tony every day, but how was it like playing middle or next to him on most of the days you were playing?
You know, Tony, first of all, let me start by saying all I had to do was worried about catching everything to my right. Because Tony was going to get everything to the left. You know, Tony, aside from being a great teammate, and by the way, one of the finest people that I ever played with in terms of his values and all that goes with being a really special individual. He was, in my opinion, for about a 4 or 5 year stretch there before, he was involved in the trade where he went to San Diego. He was the most complete and best all-around shortstop in the American League. And I'm not taking anything away from Cal Ripken, but Cal couldn't cover the ground that Tony could cover. I mean, that's reality. That's reality. He was a tremendous offensive force as well. In 1986, Tony set a record for hits in a single season by a shortstop of about 214 or 216. I remember because I hit behind him most of the time, and I would just go, it's not that easy. I mean, he'd be laying out 3-line drives a game. It's like, geez, it's not that easy. It really isn't. Now, that was later broke, but Tony was, I think, a bit of an underrated player, or didn't get the recognition he deserved because maybe he played in Toronto, in Canada, He wasn't playing in LA or Boston or New York or one of those places, but just an unbelievable player. And I think he still holds the all-time career record for hits for the Toronto Blue Jays. So
I believe you are accurate with that.
Tremendous all-around player. And I never played with anybody that worked harder at his craft than Tony. He was completely dedicated to his craft, no question.
Yeah. And youngsters, if you don't know who we're talking about, you got to check out Tony Fernandez. He was
Absolutely.
one of the best players. If you want to emulate somebody, Tony's your guy.
He's a great one to emulate because the Blue Jays prior to or since have never had a shortstop like a Tony Fernandez. And that's not taking anything away from anybody else. He was just that kind of player.
Yeah. And that's why he got to come back 2 other times and finish his career. That was the best part.
Well, I know he was on the 93 team. And I was so thankful that Tony got to win a ring because there's no Blue Jay, in my opinion, that was ever more deserving than Tony.
And I just love that he went out the way he wanted to because he did come back as a Blue Jay. He was batting 300 when he said, you know what, I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah.
So too fun.
Yeah.
So we got about 15 minutes left. I got a wonderful question from Troy Lyons in here. That is just a fun one to just discuss and whatnot here. Did you have any pregame rituals, or I'll just say superstitions on top of this? Because that's just what baseball players are.
No, I really didn't have any superstitions. If I had a pregame ritual, what I tried to do was go through who I was facing that day, the pitchers, not only the starter, but who potentially I might face coming out of the bullpen, and whatever my job I was being asked to do that day, and prepare for it. And when I say prepare for it mentally, and make decisions far ahead of time of what I wanted to try to do or a pitch I was going to look to hit, given whatever the situation might be. And that could change if there's nobody on base, runner scoring position, etc. That's what I tried to do. Physically work on something that maybe I felt like I needed to kind of fine tune a little bit. And then I would also oftentimes, especially with like a Doyle Alexander, a Jimmy Key, and some of the that were more what I would call control, really command pitchers. I would go over with them. I'd say, okay, how do you want me to play this hitter? Position wise, how do you want me to play hitter X, Y, Z in terms of my position at third base? How are you going to pitch them? Where do you want me to play them? And that would be my pregame routine. I would try to go through all these mental situations and prepare as best I could that way. So when the game started, I had already pre-programmed, if you will, my approach to that evening's game, and especially in terms of facing the pitcher and how I needed to position myself defensively.
That's awesome.
I like the way this just proves that Rance is a focused baseball player and not a total weirdo who's like, yeah, I had to touch I ate the same meal every day and I took, I wore the same socks every game or something. Because I got weird during the ALCS when I was like, I need a haircut. But if I get a haircut, my baseball team might lose. So you know how it is.
One of the reasons I'm still wearing the same hat, by the way.
Yep.
Just saying. Yeah. We did good while we played.
Well, everybody, people have different routines and some people are more superstitious than others. And I always say, if that's what works best for you, that's great. That works for you. But that's what I found over a period of time worked best for me.
Yeah.
I'm in the don't mess with winning streak, and we were doing pretty damn well. So
yeah, it worked till it didn't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Blue Jays fans, we got plenty in the chat. Hit us up with some of those last minute questions as we get to wrap up the show. I'm going to go around the corner here, and obviously, Rance, I feel like I haven't let you ask any questions. If you got one that's brewing,
I don't have any. No, I don't have any. I don't have to prepare to lead this show. All I got to do is follow along.
Greg's just throwing it in there. I mean, I think
just ask.
No, I really don't have any. I don't have any questions. I appreciate the fact that you all have asked some questions this evening. That we've had a few from people that are listening, and I just enjoy the interaction and trying to respond to a question. I find that sometimes challenging, but hopefully the answer I give makes sense.
Yep, there you go. So let's go around the table. Liz, you got any other ones you would like to ask while we're wrapping up?
There was a good one in the chat. Hey, Rance, how was it to transition from the exhibition to the brand new shiny Sky Dome? What was that like?
Oh, wow, that was a really unique experience because we went to this new, modern, beautiful ballpark that obviously was a lot more fan friendly, and the atmosphere there. And of course, something that really, in my mind, helped that transition is we were a really good team at that time, and so naturally the ballpark was pretty much sold out every night. The electricity in that ballpark, I can remember sometimes walking from the clubhouse to the dugout 10 minutes, 15 minutes prior to the start of the game. And, maybe you're long into the season, you're kind of tired and and then you would start to hear that pregame buzz from the fans and feel that electricity. And it would go a long way to help you get to that emotional level you needed to be to perform at your best. But it was just a great ballpark. I mean, at the time, there wasn't a better ballpark, in my opinion, in baseball. And I think anybody that came in to play us there really enjoyed that facility. And with the built-in, the hotel built into the ballpark and just all the amenities, everything about it. And just to add to that, I was back in September to take in a couple of ball games there. And the new additions, the things that they've done to the ballpark, I think are just outstanding.
It's really the best. It makes it feel real, like a ballpark. My favorite thing they've done is there's something. So before, I love sitting in the 500s behind home plate. It's my favorite. But there'd always be like a bachelorette party or somebody who wasn't engaging with the game. But now there's somewhere they can go. They sell general admission tickets. There's all kinds of things you can do. If you're not there for the game, if you're there for the vibes, you can get out of my way and go and sit and watch the game at a bar. Also, what I enjoy is they've the seats are turned the right way because it was a multi-use stadium. The seats were kind of were facing out like straight instead of towards home plate. So I love what Rogers has done. I love the park renos. It just feels like you're somewhere special again, because in between, I guess when they built it in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s.
It opened in 89.
Yeah. So there was a lull in between there where I was like, it just feels like rebar. I feel like I just had a building full of rebar and no vibes. And now they've done a great job with it. It's like, and it was really cool during the World Series to see the American media take it in for the first time, not knowing that, hey, there's a hotel here, or that like you can see this.
It's like it's been here for how many years?
Yeah, and so it was really. Yeah, it was super fun to show off our renovations and be proud of our park. I do hope we get another All-Star game soon.
Yeah, well, the ballpark. I mean that Corona. I mean, just when I walked in, I looked at. I go, oh, this has got a completely different vibe to it than it did 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's really, really nice what they've done.
It's a great place to be on a Friday night. Like there's like these seats for $20 you can get right behind the opposing team's bullpen. And there's all these great patios with the roofs open, $20 it's just it's a great place to be in the summer.
The views are incredible.
What I really, just to kind of maybe wrap this point up, for me, my takeaway from it with what they've done is you don't have to be a hardcore baseball fan to go to the ballpark and enjoy yourself and have a good time. It can be more like an outing, I guess, if you will, where you just go and you say, we're going to go out with some friends. We're going to have a few drinks. We're going to take it all in. But you don't have to be a hardcore fan to enjoy the ballpark and the experience.
I think that's essential, though. Like, I mean, I think that one of the things that Major League Baseball has done right in the last 5 years is they have changed the experience to allow just that. So you go to a hockey game, you don't have anywhere to go. If you're not super interested in watching the hockey game, you have to sit there and talk in front of people who are probably there to watch a hockey game. Whereas in a baseball game, I mean, it is, slightly different, but offering those extra areas is such a great idea. Like one of my good friends went to Game 7, and he hasn't been yet. And he was like, the place is incredible. Like there's nothing but places to go watch the game or not watch the game.
Yeah.
So
on Game 7, though, how do you not watch it?
Well, I mean,
I'm just kidding. That's besides the point. So good stuff. Jason, you got a last question for it before the end of the show here, before I tell everybody where to find Rance?
I don't really know that I have a question. I mean, I think that we've seen, obviously, Rance, you're a name that is, when you mention the Jays, you're a name that people, bring up. We've had, Knock Guy Eddie on here talking about your, when you compare, Craig, do you remember what the stat was? I mean,
I'll find it.
Comparatively,
a minute last time.
Comparatively, your career and some of your yearly numbers were, if not better than, they were dead on with some of the greatest hitters to ever hit. And I don't know that the people, certainly people appreciate the fact that you were a great baseball player, a great third baseman. And, when we started talking about the Ernie Clement thing, I think it's a little bit bizarro world about how similar the two of you are. But then I just went and looked when we were sitting here, and you have some unbelievable years of hitting. Now, for a guy, what were you at your heaviest? 170, 175?
About 170.
So at that stature, and I mean, you certainly didn't hit, I think your highest total was 15 home runs one year.
I was 12, I think 12.
Okay. I'll give you 15. There was a couple of preseason, but I think that for me, and I think this would help a lot of we have a lot of sort of 13, 14, 15-year-old kids that do watch the cast or listen to the cast. How did you get yourself to that position where you were confident enough to start strength hitting the ball to gaps and to places where you knew you would get on base?
Well, first of all, it was a lifetime of work. And then when I got to Toronto, Cito was a hitting coach, and we tweaked a few things, especially my mental approach, which helped me enormously. And maybe some other time when we have more time, I can get into that a little more in depth. But I just tried to be a professional hitter. That's what I just worked really hard at that. And it was a lifetime of work. It's something that never ceased. I just kept working at it. And it started with my dad saying, when Dad would throw batting practice to me, hit the ball up the middle and to your opposite field and swing at strikes. And over years that improved. And then I got, like I said, to Cito. And the one thing I would say, and I would, you mentioned these young kids that are listening, if some are listening out there, what I would say is, I knew I wasn't going to hit 30 home runs or drive in 100 runs, but I knew some other things that I could do extremely well, maybe better than most of the guys that I was playing with at the time. And again, that's a conversation maybe for another time when we have time. But what I would say to anybody is what I tried to do was be the best that I could be. And so I would encourage, in other words, I didn't compare myself to my teammates. I just tried to be the best I could be with the abilities that I had. And so what I would say to any young person who's listening to this, who now or who may in the future, don't compare yourself to anybody else. Just work hard and be the best that you can be. And it doesn't have to pertain to baseball. It can be any number of careers. Be the best that you can possibly be. And if you get to the point where you're the best that you can possibly be, you are a success story.
Yeah, you can't beat that. How do you beat that?
Oh, that one.
Yeah. Mic drop.
That should be like on the top line of your wonderful new website, sir.
Yeah, I'll get a t-shirt.
Meant to send you the audio for that one.
Well, again, as I mentioned to you, my message is what we can accomplish through change, which is, I don't want to say unlimited, but we can accomplish so much more than we think we are capable of if we're willing to be uncomfortable for a while and make that change that is going to make us better. Yeah. And that's the message.
Amen.
Yeah.
So I found the stat that we were looking at here, and I'll bring it back up. Our buddy,
I'm in pretty good company, by the way.
Yeah,
you are very good company.
Yeah, pretty good company.
This one right here is the big.
I think 2 or 3 of them are Hall of Famers. So yeah, and I never knew that. By the way,
make an argument.
Yeah, I never knew this. I never did.
Yeah,
our buddy Not Guy Eddie's got the best stat team I think that we could ever have. It's the broadcast Bruce guy that gives you the 10 levels too deep stat that nobody would know off the top of their head. And but oh my God, that's a great stat to have. 1 of 5 players with at least 1,000 games played, an on base percentage of .800, and fewer than 500 career strikeouts. I'm not shocked that Tony Gwynn is on that one bit. The guy struck out like 12 times in one whole season. But to be there with Wade Boggs, Alan Trammell, Donnie Baseball, Rance, that's pretty damn good. So you did something really good.
I can tell you, I'm very humbled. I'm in some wonderful company there, and there's a few of those guys there, Wade, Alan, and Donnie Baseball, that I got to play against a lot. And boy, to even just in some way, some small way, fall into a category with those 3 guys, and of course Tony Gwynn, that's special. It's really special. It is.
And even without the pregame rituals, you didn't eat lemon chicken before every game like Wayne Boggs did.
No, I never wrote a book called Foul Tips. No, so I was. But
there it is.
That's all good.
Good deal. So I want to obviously give you a moment here to talk about what you got going on with the website and everything. But I got one thing I got to show from our friends in the comment section is first thing he precedes it with prove me wrong. Okay. But this is the best by far episode of JBW ever. And thank you, Cousin Lions. We appreciate you, buddy. Woo! And then we got this wonderful tidbit that, is that the right one?
Yep.
Yeah, that was the right one. Thinking of you playing always made me feel like a young kid. Thanks for the memories, my good sir, from Troy Lions.
So. Well, I am extremely grateful. I appreciate the kind words. And again, I think for me, what's most important is that we all remain humble and grateful. And to hear people, to know that people feel that way about me, just kind of reinforces my beliefs that, humility, kindness, consideration of others goes a long way. And I think that's more important than anything that I ever accomplished on the baseball field. And I hope that comes through to people. I really do.
Bravo, sir. So on that note, Rance, like I said, I know you got some things cooking in your current life space and everything. Would you like to tell the Blue Jays fans about your wonderful website where they can submit some more questions?
Well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. It's rancemulliniks.com, and you can go right to the website. And my goal going forward in my life is I want to help others live a more successful, more rewarding life. And for me, with my experience that I've had throughout my life, I've come to the point, and I will honestly say there was a time in my life when I didn't think about this. But with everything I accomplished in baseball and maybe some other areas in my life, through all of that, what I have learned is what's more important than anything else is what all of us can do to maybe help someone else improve their life, have more success in their career, and just enjoy a greater and better life experience. And for me, just to really nail it down specifically, there are other things as well, but specifically the message is this: what we can all accomplish through change. If we're just willing to be a little uncomfortable and make a hard choice in our lives and change something that is going to go so far to help us be better, happier, and more successful. That's my goal.
Good deal, Rance.
And I hope I get the opportunity to speak and stand before people, share some of my opportunity, some of the things that helped me be better, some of the people that influenced my life. That's what it's all about.
So plenty of Blue Jays fans here with us this evening that will be probably very happy next time you come back to chit chat and tell more stories. So you are always welcome here to have an extra microphone ready to go.
Well, hey, you know what, guy? This has been a great experience for me. I think what you're doing here is wonderful. I hope, continued success. I hope this grows for you. And anytime you want to drag old Rance Mulliniks in and let him share a few stories, and we have a good time, it's all good. I
Right on.
anytime, my pleasure. Believe me.
Good deal.
Thanks,
And
Rance.
it's like he knows.
You bet.
So go for it. Do you have one more, Jason?
That was it. Just thanks, man.
All right.
Just thanks.
So I guess I got a couple of short, little, quick things before we go to the outside chit chat of the live area here. But if you all haven't been noticing this little counter behind me, we are getting eerily close to the number 500. So we are going to be live with some to be determined surprise guests at the moment on 500. Maybe our buddy Rance here is going to give us a little snippet of, hey, how you doing, or whatever. We'll see what happens. You never know. That's the whole point. So that will be on December 3rd will be our 500th episode. So make sure you join us there, literally to start off your holiday seasons, I guess would be the fun things. So join us. We're going to have some fun. We got some fun guests, and we're going to just do what we usually do around here, goof around and have a good time and talk some Blue Jays baseball. So thank you again to the nearly 200 of you that are still hanging out with us in the show live. We greatly appreciate you. Brother Lions, thanks for all the fun-loving show comments like you always have. And make sure you check us out next week, live, 7 p.m. Eastern, just like usual, every Wednesday evening, and we will be back. And as always, go Blue Jays.
Woo!
Yes. So Liz, Jason, Greg, all the best. Anything I can ever help you to be successful going forward, just throw a little something in. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Never would.
We will be there.
Never would.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Thank you, Blue Jays fans. Cheers and have
Hey,
a great
everybody.
week.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdwatchingGC and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider joining to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.
Woo!